What is up, friends, familia? I'm working on my Spanish. Oh, that's actually not that good then. I'm working on my Español. ¿Cómo estás? Muchas gracias. Do you know, commonly mistaken, people say mucho, but it's muchas always because the tense is determined by the word. So gracias, it's always muchas, and I didn't know that until recently. I've been saying mucho gracias. Like I'll say mucho gracias to a dude and muchas gracias to a lady, but that's been wrong the whole time. They've been laughing at me behind my back. But I digress. I gotta start off by congratulating my Toronto Raptors! Oh, yeah. We are the 2019 NBA champions of the world. And while I was wearing my Raptors hat, you know, not the last video, but the video before, I wanted to wear it again, but Fonda was like, you can't do that. That guy, nobody would consider him fun, but you know what? Kawhi Leonard, man, you know how to play ball, and you helped bring a championship to my city, going back to me being like a little kid, 1995, man. We just want the credit where it's due. Toronto Raptors, everyone is due. What? I wear every single chain, even when I'm in my house, cause we... What? So I thought this week I would, you know, tackle a more serious topic. Kind of heavy, I guess. Some weeks we're gonna have more fun and kind of laugh together, and other weeks we're gonna like think about some stuff. And seeing that it was just Father's Day, I thought, well, no better timing than to do a YouTube video on this particular topic. And the question is, what is it like growing up without a dad? The answer to that question, there's a million. Because every single person on the planet is gonna have a completely different opinion, completely different experience, perspective. I can only really speak to mine. Now, as you watch this video, maybe you might have struggled with something, and I might shine a light on it. I might give it a different perspective that you'd never considered. And if that helps you somehow, fantastic. It is the literal point of this video. Even if you grew up with a mom and a dad, you can still watch the video. I mean, I still want you to watch the video. I'm not, this is a non-prejudicial YouTube channel. This is for everybody. Moms and dads, moms and moms, dads and dads, dads, moms and moms, moms, moms and dads. Dad, mom, 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 if you're like in a polygamous household. Let's go. From my own personal experience, I might not have had a physical father in my household, but my mom was my mom and my dad. Growing up, she went without to make sure that I never had to. You know, like, while I was an only child and people always clown only children for being spoiled, yeah, I was spoiled. But it was like a selective spoiling. You know, like, I might have wanted that toy today, and I'd ask for that toy today. I'd beg for that toy today. But she almost never gave it to me. And I'm confident that half of the time she could have. She was just teaching me a lesson of like being patient, learning to be patient, which to this very day, I'm not very patient. So you failed at that, Ma. And the other time it was because she simply couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? Like, she was paying all the bills by herself. Daycare's not cheap. Growing boys aren't cheap. You know what I mean? Like, from food alone. Like, I think about how much I eat now as a grown man, and that's like half of what I used to eat. Half. One day my shoes fit, the next day they don't. Like, that's not cheap. And for all you parents out there, moms and dads that are watching this, listen to me. I tip my very dope Toronto Blue Jays hat off to you because it's expensive. Like, what's the statistic on raising a child from like birth to 18 is like $490,000 or something like that? Like, that's crazy when you really quantify how much money it costs to raise one child. So when, you know, my mom was doing that on her single income and also taking care of my grandmother, whom most of my life had a lot of health issues. I can't imagine that type of stress. I think that one of the most valuable types of being spoiled that my mom spoiled me was like emotionally. You know, she, from like, I'm talking early memories, like early memories. She said, "You were born for great. You know what? I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna go in my safe right now and I'll show you something. I'll be right back. Hold on. See this? Is that in focus? A Star is Born. Is that in focus? There? Yo, this is an autobiography that I started making when I was in like grade 2, and then continued it until like grade 6. You know, like here's closer, 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 closer. You got that there, you know? From small, my mom said you were born for greatness. And she told me that all the time. All the time. All the time. And I believed her. I've never not believed her. I will always believe her. Her spoiling me with that was the best gift she could ever give me. She told me from very small that I was born for greatness. And my whole life, that emotional being spoiledness. What's the verb of spoiled? Were you sad to not have a dad? My obvious answer is no, because I never had one. You know what I mean? Like, when I was really small, he was around, and then he moved back to the West Indies. Couldn't handle the cold, or my mom's craziness. I don't. He moved back to Grenada, and from like 2 or 3 years old, it's just my mom and I. So I knew nothing else. People that I never couldn't hear, that were deaf, and then had surgeries with medical advancements, and then heard for the first time. They had no basis of comparison. They were always only ever deaf. It's kind of like that with me. You know, I never really knew, but of course it's slightly different because I'm around people that had fathers, so I could imagine what it would be like. It wasn't that I was completely blind or deaf to it. You know, I would go to cousins' houses, and I had uncles that had children whom were my cousins. So of course, like, I could envision it, but my life, I only ever had mom and grandma. You know, I remember this one time, I started playing baseball when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And my mom to this day can't catch, can't throw. She's not very athletic. And we went to the Canadian Tire, and she bought, you know, I needed a new bat, I needed a glove, I needed a ball, so on and so forth. But she thought, okay, well, I can't play with him. Who's he gonna play with? He's an only child. Who's he gonna throw this ball around with? So she went and she asked and found this like contraption, which was like a net. You know what I mean? It had 4 pillars. You put it into the ground, and then you would throw the ball at it, and then the ball would come back at you. Which, of course, as a kid, I didn't know that existed. But she thought, like, okay, well, who's he gonna play with? And she went and found this thing so that I could play with myself. Play with myself. I've been playing with my sis. No. And of course, it's not the same as going to the park with your pops, throwing the ball around. Yeah. But that's one of those examples where I distinctly remember being a kid and knowing I don't have a dad to throw this ball around with, but that my mom still did her best. One of the only times in my life that I really wished, say I had a father in my life, was probably between like 16 and 19. I'd say 16 and 19 were probably like the few years where, you know, I'm getting a little bit taller. I'm in the gym a little bit. You know, I'm looking at girls even more than I ever had before, and I've always loved girls. And it would have been nice. Like I can recall thinking about, oh man, it'd be cool like if me and my dad could talk about this chick that I met. Though she played the roles of mom and dad, she's still a woman. She has never been a man, so she's never thought particularly like a man. She's never lived a man's life. You know, she's never had a penis. There's things that she physically couldn't understand exactly the same way that a man would. Now I know there's some like psych majors or psychologists or psychiatrists that are saying right now, listen, there's things in your life that you do that you don't even know that you do because you didn't have a dad. And you know what? You could be right. You could be right. But you could also be wrong. You could also be wrong because that's your opinion. And you're entitled to your opinion. You are absolutely entitled to your opinion. But I have thought about that. The absence of a father, what could that have, how could that have affected my thinking or my behaviors or actions? Generally speaking, with my mom, with women, with other men, the possibilities are infinite. It's like having all of the infinity stones or not. There's infinite possibilities. It's the butterfly effect. It's quite literally take one thing out of my life, my lineage of life, and everything thereafter is different. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't mess with that lineage, my butterfly effect, one bit. Not one bit. Because, from, I think I was about 4. Yeah, about 4. She taught me to pull chairs out for ladies. I remember being a little kid pulling chairs out. And then I became a prankster and I used to pull them out from under girls, but that's a different story. That's kind of like, pushing girls in the playground when you like them. But I've been opening doors for women my whole life. My mom taught me hey, this is not how you treat, this is not how you speak to, this is not how, or this is what you do. I also watched what she would accept and what she would not accept. So while there would have been potentially valuable lessons from having a father in the picture, I feel like the life that I've had, courtesy of being raised by my supermom and my grandmother while she was with us, I wouldn't change anything. Another question people ask is do you harbor, ill feelings towards him? Not really. To be honest, not really. I think that the angriest that I have gotten in my life is at the thought of how much harder it was for my mom. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really even anger at him for not being there for me. It was mostly not being there for her. So, if you watch this, you need to buy her a Porsche or an SL 550. She likes SL 550s. You should probably do that. I think the craziest thing for me is that ever since I was a kid, I've wanted kids. Anybody that knows me knows that. And I used to want 10. That was before I knew the value of money. So now I'm on 3 to 5. Not less, not more. But the craziest thing for me is that there's no scenario where if I had a kid that I wouldn't be in their day-to-day life. No, zero scenario. I don't care. There's not a circumstance that would allow for me to have a kid and not see my kid daily. In fact, when my friends make fun of me, they're like, oh, we always thought you'd be first, and now I'm close to being last. The only reason is because I just never wanted to have baby mama drama. I've seen my friends struggle with it, my girlfriends, my guy friends, and they're in court and they're battling it out and they're spending all this money and energy to split the time because their relationship broke down. And that happens all the time. And you know what? For a lot of you watching, the relationship broke down, but you were amicable enough to make it work with the kid. And that's fantastic. But it so often doesn't go that way. It so often doesn't go that way. And that was the only reason, that is the number one reason that I was like, can I be with this person for the rest of my life? And if not, can I stand seeing them every day? Because no one's gonna tell me that I can't see my kid every day. So that means I'm gonna have to tough it out with this crazy Gemini. I'm sorry. I happen to date a Gemini. If, say, we had a baby, I would have killed myself. Okay, I'm sorry. In conclusion, to answer the question, what was it like growing up without a dad? A father figure? It was dope. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything. Not one thing. Yeah. Big up to all the dope dads out there. You guys are dope. Everybody that puts in that work, grinds, deals with, potentially crazy Gemini moms, mothers of your children. Don't look at me sideways right now. You made that choice. That has nothing to do with me. But to all the dope dads out there, man, good on you. To all the super moms, I salute you. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you guys next week. Make sure to subscribe. I'm figuring it out. It's more like here. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Like, leave a comment. Thank you for all your comments every single week. It makes this channel, this community, worth it. You know what I mean? And honestly, I've had a couple dog walkers hit me up now. Yeah, so it's working. Tell your dog walkers, go get a dog walker, get a dog, then a dog walker. Spread the word amongst the dog walking community to subscribe to Official Jamie Calica. Until next week, I'll see you guys soon.